Good morning. Welcome to the Premium Public Video discussion for Friday, May 19th, 2023. As you know, every Friday we do a little premium preview to see what you get every day at the Premium Consulting membership at NYNJPA Weather. It's Friday. I need more coffee, but that's okay. Now, first of all, when we get to the summer months, every morning we do a tropical update just to see what's going on, along with tropical discussion in the evening. For now, it is absolutely quiet, which you would expect. It's only May 19th. The official start of the hurricane season really is until June 1st, but over the past couple of years, we've had a little bit of activity in May, heck, even in January. So we also start this up by May 15th. Every morning we check out the tropics, and right now it is completely quiet with plenty of dry air throughout the Caribbean and off towards the Atlantic. We have a very impressive little wave coming off of the African coast, pretty strong for this time of year, to be honest with you. But the intertropical convergence zone, as typical for this time of year, is a little bit too far south to really support any type of development. But that is one heck of a signal coming off the African coast. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I don't expect anything to develop out of it. And the reason why is because, well, we have plenty of dry air, and this jet streak right here. This is an influence of El Nino developing. The more El Nino develops, the stronger this jet streak gets. And this jet streak acts like basically a machete for any type of tropical system. It's called vertical wind shear. So when you have this type of wind shear in place, it really prevents the development and growth of a warm core low. But a little bit closer to home, we have a rather interesting low pressure system that will be developing along the Carolina coast here. You can see the shortwave right here in the subtropical jet stream, this slight little negative tilt here of a low pressure system is starting to develop. Now, for the most part, this is a cold core low pressure system. The structure is cold core. But the very smallest level, let's say around 925 millibars down to the surface, there are some warm core features. And the reason why that's important is not for any type of tropical development or making the storm stronger, but it alters the way that precipitation shield forms. It makes it a very strong gradient, very tight, and so that impacts our forecast because a slight shift east or west makes a big difference in who's going to get the most rainfall by tomorrow. So we see this feature starting to develop, a very vigorous shortwave in the polar jet stream diving in. Notice the orientation, it's positive. Why is that important? I'm going to show you why in the upper level winds in just a moment. Taking a look at our observations for this morning, it's pretty tranquil right now. High pressure's in control. It is off the coast. We're getting more of a southeasterly wind, especially on the immediate coast, around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Nothing really too impressive. Temperatures range from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s in your suburbs, and lower to mid 50s in your urban areas. Your warmest location is down towards southern New Jersey, where we're already into the upper 50s. When we take a look at our radar and surface map from WeatherTap, you can see that high pressure is in control but off the coast. There is our low pressure system starting to organize, and there is our heavy precipitation. Notice the precipitation structure. Very heavy rainfall, very strong convection, very much concentrated, right? That is a signal of some of that warm core development right along the Gulf Stream here. Now, again, this is not going to become a subtropical storm or a tropical storm in any way, shape, or form. But the important thing is the structure and the way that this is setting up. Meanwhile, we have our cold front out here to the west, producing showers and thunderstorms over the upper Midwest down towards the plains. That will be approaching and kicking this storm out tomorrow evening. So everything's come together for a nice little rainfall event for some people. The further west you are, not so much. So I'm going to take a look at our water vapor satellite picture. I mean, it really comes together very nicely here. Very active subtropical jet stream, textbook El Nino type development here with our weather pattern. A nice short wave in the subtropical jet stream. There's our polar short wave. Very impressive. Not a full phase, but certainly an interaction starting to take shape here. So again, notice our positive tilt here. So let's dive into some of the model data on why that's important. So we're going to take a look at the upper level winds. And notice by tomorrow morning, we have more of a southwesterly wind with the polar jet stream. And that's showing up here at 250 millibars, 300 millibars, 500 millibars. And at 850 millibars, we start to see this little feature here getting pushed further to the east. You see that southwesterly wind is going to take that core and push it a little bit further east and focus it more towards Long Island and portions of southern New England, but not so much for the Delaware River Valley. It pretty much misses out completely. And you can see that pretty nicely here in the lifting parameters for this system. You know, there's our short wave starting to develop. You can see it at all levels of the atmosphere. In fact, as you get down towards 850 millibars, it closes off into an 850 millibar low. But notice we have a nice little area of warmer conditions under that low at 850 millibars, and then the rest of the feature is more of a gradient, more reminiscent of a cold core low. So you can kind of get both of them mixed in there as far as features. And then as we move through Saturday, you can see that lifting is shifted more towards the coastal waters as our polar shortwave approaches. Now, the shortwave in the polar jet stream is going to shift from positive to neutral. And what that allows for is for the strongest features of this system here in the subtropical jet stream to track to the northeast and then get pulled north into New England. And we see that pretty nicely here at all levels of the atmosphere, and getting shunted right into New England, where we see some heavier rainfall for much of the rest of New England, eastern New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, areas like that on Saturday evening. The other thing to note here is that this is a fast-moving setup here for both features, the subtropical and polar shortwaves. So everything's moving quickly in this whole setup here. So nothing's going to linger. It's going to hit, it's going to leave very quickly. So what does this mean in terms of our weekend forecast? Well, we take a look at the precipitable water values and notice again the deepest precipitable water values, those yellows and reds, are all focused over the coastal waters and get pushed out pretty quickly. And some pretty impressive dry air transport by 5 a.m. on Sunday. So that certainly bodes well for the Sunday forecast. So when we look at the model data, a lot of people like to focus on one model or another. What I did this morning is take a mix of all of them and not worry about the specific details, but the overall theme. And the overall theme is that your heaviest rainfall is east. It moves through tomorrow morning through tomorrow afternoon, but it moves quickly. Okay, so it's just a heavy hit of rain the further east you are. The further west you are, you miss out on most of this. So the Delaware River Valley misses out on a good chunk of this, and you really don't get your rainfall until the cold front moves through around late in the evening and towards midnight with the cold front passage. And even that is widely scattered showers and a few isolated thunderstorms. Especially, you have a thunderstorm threat for central Pennsylvania. Nothing severe though. There's a bit of rumble and some heavier rainfall. That is about it. But you can see the overall theme here, and that's also showing up pretty nicely on the GFS, the HRRR guidance, as I call it, the pirate guidance, the European high-res guidance, all this pretty much the same. So we've had this forecast up for most of the week in the premium section, and basically we're looking at a very tight gradient here. Now I have a half an inch to inch and a half of rain here, okay? I would not be surprised if Tom's River gets a half an inch, but just to the west, towards, let's say, Freehold, barely gets 2/10 of an inch, okay? Very, very tight gradient here. The inch and a half, I think, is more likely for locations like Long Island, Connecticut, especially around Hartford. And then this is a very tight gradient where, again, I have a 1/10 to a half an inch, but don't be surprised if that half an inch is only right here to the east of the I-95 corridor. And then less than 1/10 of an inch for the Delaware River Valley, and that's essentially with the cold front passage. So not really looking for a lot here in terms of rainfall for a lot of eastern Pennsylvania. So if you have plans on Saturday in eastern Pennsylvania, should be fine. If you have plans in New York City, Long Island, the immediate Jersey Shore, not so much. Okay, you might want to have some backup plans in that respect. So again, the further west you are, the better you are. Now, after this low pressure system leaves, I got some great news for you. And we're going to kind of jump ahead all the way into the holiday weekend next weekend. We start to see an upper level low take shape over the Gulf Coast and Southeast. This is, again, textbook El Nino influence here. And when you have a strong upper level low to the south, you have a counter response. And that counter response between the strong upper level low / somewhat polar vortex type feature up towards northern Canada, and you have your upper level low on the Gulf Coast, that means there's got to be rising 500 millibar heights somewhere, and they will be right over us. What does that mean for you and me? Well, it means high pressure is going to be in place and for quite some time. And this signal really shows up over the next 15 days. You know, you get this feature hanging out around the Gulf Coast and around the Bahamas, meandering about. And you get this above normal heights over the mid-Atlantic, and that produces very pleasant weather, at least all the way through the Memorial Day weekend. So it looks like it's going to be beautiful for much of next week and into next weekend. So if you have any plans or anything, don't worry, it looks like it's going to be beautiful. If you're heading south, well, not so much. So let's dive into this forecast for today. Excellent weather conditions are expected. Look for temperatures to range from the lower to mid 60s on the immediate coast, essentially Long Island, upper 60s to lower 70s everywhere else. For tonight into tomorrow morning, look for increasing cloud cover with showers starting to develop along the coast. Low temperatures will range from the lower to mid 50s over the northern interior, mid to upper 50s along the coast. For tomorrow afternoon, periods of rain on the immediate coast. Widely scattered showers as you head further west. Look for temperatures to range from the lower to mid 60s on the immediate coast where you have cloud cover and rain and just a raw day. Mid to upper 60s as you head further west. We get more sunshine, let's say around Philadelphia. Do not be surprised if you're around 70, 71 degrees with some of that sunshine, because again, we're out ahead of a cold front with a southwesterly flow otherwise. So you'll have a chance to break out to a somewhat decent day around Philadelphia and points to the west if the bulk of your heavier rainfall is focused along the coast. Because remember, strong rising air means you have to have sinking air somewhere else, and that's likely to be in the Delaware River Valley and in portions of the rest of eastern Pennsylvania. Now in the evening, the cold front moves through with the threat for a few widely scattered showers, nowhere near as heavy as what you're going to experience on the coast. Look for low temperatures by the time we get to Sunday morning to range quite a bit, and this is because of the timing of the cold front passage. Over the interior, lower to mid 40s over the highest elevations, mid to upper 40s in the interior, and then as you head towards the coast, you're more likely to be in the mid to upper 50s moving forward. Now on Sunday afternoon, that cold front is off the coast, high pressure starts to build in, skies start to clear, temperatures rebound very nicely into the lower to mid 70s along the coast, mid to upper 70s away from the coast. If you have outdoor plans, the best day is clearly Sunday. If you have outdoor plans during the week, it's going to be even better. High pressure is going to be in control all the way through the upcoming week with tranquil weather conditions expected. In fact, that's continuing all the way on into next weekend. So in terms of temperatures, what does that mean? Well, on Monday, look for low temperatures to range from the mid to upper 40s over the northern interior, lower to mid 50s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the upper 60s to lower 70s over the northern interior, mid to upper 60s along the immediate coast, and lower to mid 70s over the Delaware River Valley. On Tuesday, look for temperatures to range from the mid to upper 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 70s over the northern interior, mid to upper 60s on Long Island, upper 60s to lower 70s along the rest of the coast, and lower to mid 70s in the Delaware River Valley. On Wednesday, look for low temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s. High temperatures will range from the mid to upper 70s over the northern interior, lower to mid 70s along the coast, and lower to mid 80s in the Delaware River Valley. On Thursday, look for low temperatures in the lower to mid 50s over the northern interior, upper 50s to lower 60s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 70s along the immediate coast, mid to upper 70s everywhere else. And next Friday, look for low temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s and high temperatures in the mid to upper 60s along the coast, upper 70s, mid to upper 70s everywhere else. And for next weekend, overall, basically the same temperature regime. Upper 40s to mid 50s for lows, mid to upper 70s along the coast, possibly a few more 80s in the Delaware River Valley. So next weekend's looking absolutely beautiful. One thing's for sure, it's going to be dry. Unfortunately, that also means we might have to worry about a little bit more of drought conditions. So we'll see how that plays out. That is your forecast discussion for today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And as always, stay safe out there.